Hey guys, this is Aaron Schober and Josh Lucas from Sword, Carolina. This is our first lesson out of the Dubringer manuscript or codex. So we were doing the Zornhau-Ort today. So what we're doing, we did it a couple different ways. As it mentions, you can use the Zornhau-Ort in the Nach as a defense with a counterattack, and you can also do it as an attack on its own right. And so we chose to do it in the 4 version first because it's simpler, just to practice that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to attack with a Zornhau, which is an overhau from the shoulder, and it's setting up the thrust, so I'm not going to cut down to the ground. I'm going to cut into my lower hanging here so that I can thrust immediately toward his face. So it's an overhau setting up an Unterstück. And obviously with all of our interpretations, this is our interpretation. There's other thoughts out there. We want to hear from you. If you think of something different, let us know. We thought about that.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So what we're going to do now, just to set up a simple drill, is because I want to come in with a realistic attack. I want to close distance properly, so Josh is going to defend just by avoiding. He's going to step backwards to avoid my overhau, and then that's going to set up the thrust afterwards. So this is very simple. So this is probably the simplest form of the Zornhau-Ort. Coming in and attacking. So but where you really see the Zornhau-Ort used mostly is in defense from an overhau. So if Josh is throwing an overhau to me, what I'm going to do is do a Zornhau against his sword. So he's cutting at me, I'm going to cut against his sword. What happens if I cut at him? If he cuts at me and I cut at him, we end up hitting each other. We're doubled, now we're both hurt, we're both dead. Bad situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to defend against his cut. For the sake of this drill, we're actually doing it with a rearward passing step because that's setting up the distance for the thrust really well for us. But that's going to be dependent upon how much distance he closes. So right now he's going to cut at me. Zornhau, I'm going to cut against his sword with my own Zornhau. I want to get the strong part of my sword against the weak part of his sword. That way I have instant control of the bind and I can thrust quickly just by extending my arms over a short step here. And I have control of that bind. If he cuts at me and I cut at him and we end up strong and strong, it's going to be much harder for me to get in there and thrust. So I want to cut across my body and get the weak of his sword. And now that thrust is going to come really, really easy and really fast. But if he's quick, he can still defend against that thrust pretty quick. He is pretty quick. You guys don't know, he's very quick. So what he's going to do, if I've already got the situation here as I'm thrusting forward, he's going to set it aside over here. And the faster I go and the stronger I am with the thrust, the more he's going to have to commit to that setting it aside. That's going to open his other side, so I'm going to do an odd name. I'm going to pull up and off of his sword. I'm going to step and cut around to his other side, on the other side of the sword. I'm going to step to the side so that I'm getting away from this sword. I'm going to end up with my sword in between me and his sword. So it's going to be hard for him to do a counterattack on me. So we'll do it a couple times. I can come in with an overhau. I can come in with a neutrahau. You can do a square cow, any kind of attack. I can even attack with a thrust or a slice afterwards. The whole point is that as he's I'm strong in the initial bind. I'm doing the thrust. He's strengthening himself up. I don't want to fight against his strength because now it's going to be an arm wrestling match, and he might be stronger than me. So I'm just going to leave and cut around where it's easy. Go for the path of least resistance. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Josh, for helping out.
Absolutely.
You guys rock, and we'll see you next week.